Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Daily News Roundup. We've got a busy news day, so let's dive right in, starting with the situation in Ukraine.
Well, there's a lot of diplomatic activity going on, but it's causing some concern. We've got these talks happening in Paris and Riyadh.
But Ukraine isn't even involved in those talks, right?
Exactly. And President Trump's recent comments about NATO and Ukraine's borders are adding to the unease.
Yeah, it's raising eyebrows for sure.
European leaders are worried the U.S. might cut a deal with Russia that leaves them out in the cold.
A deal that doesn't really benefit them or reflect their interests.
Right, and there's pressure from the U.S. for Europe to do more militarily. They're being asked to boost defense spending.
And even send troops into Ukraine after a ceasefire, potentially.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. The whole thing is making people question the future of the transatlantic alliance.
For sure, it's a big shift in the global landscape. So moving from Europe to the Middle East, we've got President Trump's plan for Gaza generating a lot of controversy.
Yeah, the UN is even using the term ethnic cleansing.
Wow, that's pretty serious.
It is. The plan involves relocating Gaza's Palestinian population, and a lot of people are really concerned about that.
There are some strong opinions on this one for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but we're seeing very different reactions depending on who you ask.
Absolutely. Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel is calling it a bold vision.
And he's working with the U.S. to put it into action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have Secretary of State Marco Rubio praising it as a courageous alternative.
So a lot of different perspectives on this one.
Mhm.
It's definitely a story we'll need to keep an eye on because it could reshape the whole region.
Couldn't agree more. Now, shifting gears to some news closer to home, there's been a terrible incident in Kent, England.
Oh, yes, the shooting outside that pub on Valentine's Day.
A woman was killed, and the suspect is believed to have gone into the River Thames.
So sad. The police are still searching for him.
They are. It's a tragic event that's shaken the community.
It is a reminder that even with everything happening on the world stage, these kinds of things can happen anywhere. And in other news, Pope Francis is hospitalized in Rome with a respiratory infection.
Yeah, it sounds serious. They're calling it a complex clinical situation, but thankfully, his condition is stable for now.
So he'll be in the hospital as long as he needs to be.
Right, that's what the Vatican is saying. Switching to the tech world, Meta just made a big announcement about Project Waterworth.
Oh yeah, their big underwater cable project.
The longest one in the world, connecting the U.S. to India, South Africa, Brazil, and others. It's a huge investment in their global infrastructure.
And I guess it'll support their work on AI too.
Definitely. Now, speaking of tech ventures, Argentina's President Milei is in some hot water.
Yeah, that cryptocurrency he was promoting crashed, right?
Big time. And people are accusing him of orchestrating a rug pull scheme, basically a pump and dump.
Oh well, that's not good.
It's a big blow to his credibility and could have serious political fallout.
Yeah, I bet. Shifting our attention over to Asia now, the U.S. State Department removing that statement about Taiwan from its website really angered China.
Yeah, they're viewing it as meddling in their affairs. They consider Taiwan a breakaway province.
So any talk of independence is a huge red flag.
Absolutely. This is just adding fuel to the fire in an already tense relationship between the U.S. and China.
Back in the U.S., the Southeast is dealing with those terrible floods.
Yeah, those heavy rains over the weekend caused a lot of damage.
And there have been at least 9 deaths reported so far.
That's right. It's especially bad in Kentucky, but several states have declared emergencies.
The situation is still evolving because rivers are still rising, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about difficult situations, the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo is escalating.
Yeah, those Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have captured another major city.
It's a big setback for the Congolese government. The African Union is concerned this could turn into a much bigger regional conflict.
Hopefully things don't escalate any further. Turning to the entertainment world, there's been some sad news. South Korean actress Kim Se-ron was found dead in Seoul.
Yeah, she was just 24 years old, known for her roles in A Girl at My Door and the Netflix series Bloodhounds.
A tragic loss for the industry.
It is. And in South Africa, the Muslim community is mourning the loss of Mussin Hendricks, the world's first openly gay imam.
I heard about that. He was shot and killed, wasn't he?
He was a truly pioneering figure who created a safe space for LGBTQ plus Muslims. His death is a terrible loss for the community.
It really is. A reminder that the fight for acceptance and equality is far from over. A terrible loss. And in other tragic news, there was a deadly accident at an illegal gold mine in Mali.
Yeah, dozens of people were killed, mostly women. It really highlights the dangers of those unregulated industries. Accidents like this are way too common in Mali's mines. They desperately need better safety measures and stricter rules. It's a serious problem.
Absolutely. Now, in Europe, Germany is facing a snap election after Chancellor Scholz's coalition fell apart.
That's right. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. Immigration, the economy, and the war in Ukraine are all huge issues in this election. It could really shake things up in German politics and affect their role on the world stage.
Yeah, it's a big one to watch. And in India, there was another tragic incident, a deadly crush at a railway station in Delhi.
Oh, that's awful. 18 people were killed.
It's a stark reminder of just how overcrowded things are in India's transportation system, especially in big cities like Delhi.
You're right. The government really needs to focus on improving infrastructure and safety measures to prevent things like this from happening.
Absolutely. And in Austria, a Syrian asylum seeker has been charged with murder after a stabbing attack.
Yes, in Vilash, 2 people were killed and 5 others injured. It's a really complex situation. It's fueling tensions and debates about immigration and security, especially with elections coming up and with the rise of those far-right parties.
Yeah, it's definitely adding to an already complicated situation. Back in the U.S., President Trump is generating controversy again. This time, it's over renaming landmarks and military bases.
Ah, yes. Some people see it as him trying to rewrite history and push a nationalist agenda.
While others are criticizing it as erasing the past.
Exactly. You know, like Fort Bragg, it was briefly renamed Fort Liberty, but now it's back to Fort Bragg again. But now they're honoring a different World War II soldier. And the Gulf of Mexico. Well, it's now officially the Gulf of America, at least on U.S. maps. It's causing quite a stir.
It is, for sure.
Yeah.
And in tech news, Google's decision to allow fingerprinting is raising some privacy concerns.
Oh, yeah, that's a controversial one. Fingerprinting basically lets websites collect data about your device and browser.
So they can create a unique profile for you.
Right, exactly. And then use that for targeted advertising. Privacy advocates are worried because it takes away user control and could have big implications for online privacy.
I can see why they're concerned. Shifting gears to Lebanon, there's been an attack on a UN peacekeeping convoy near Beirut airport.
Yes, and a senior UN peacekeeper was injured. Hezbollah supporters have been protesting there because the government banned Iranian planes from landing.
So tensions are pretty high in the region?
Definitely. It's a volatile situation. Back to the war in Ukraine. President Zelensky is calling for the creation of a European army.
That's a pretty significant statement.
It is. He's saying Europe can't rely on the U.S. for security anymore. It's causing some concern among European leaders who worry the U.S. might make a deal with Russia without them.
So it's a big question mark hanging over the future of European defense and the transatlantic alliance.
For sure. And in some more tragic news, a British couple was found dead in their home in France.
Yeah, in a remote hamlet. The police are investigating, but it's a really sad and shocking event.
Absolutely. And Vice President J.D. Vance is facing some backlash for comments he made about European democracies.
Oh, right, at the Munich Security Conference.
Yeah, he said that European countries are retreating from their values.
And that didn't go over well with the people there.
Not at all. His speech was met with silence and criticism, which definitely isn't helping transatlantic relations.
Yep. Now, for something a bit lighter, a Chilean kayaker had a pretty wild encounter with a humpback whale.
I heard about this. He got swallowed whole. He did. But thankfully, the whale spat him back out, and incredibly, he was unharmed.
That's amazing. It's a good reminder of how powerful and unpredictable these creatures are.
You said it. And in some entertainment news, that rape lawsuit against rappers Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs has been dismissed.
Oh, yeah, what happened there?
The woman who filed the lawsuit decided to withdraw it. So that's the end of that legal battle. And back to the war in Ukraine, there's been a concerning development. There are reports of a Russian drone strike hitting that shield over the damaged nuclear reactor at Chernobyl.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
No, it's definitely worrying. Any damage to the reactor could lead to radiation leaks, so people are watching the situation very closely.
Makes sense. And switching gears to history, there's some controversy surrounding the Stonewall National Monument in New York City.
Yeah, they removed references to transgender individuals from the website.
And that sparked outrage from LGBTQ plus advocates, right?
Rightfully so. It's raising important questions about inclusivity and representation in history. We need to acknowledge and honor the contributions of all communities, including marginalized ones.
Couldn't agree more. And now for an art story. The Tehran Museum of Contemporary Art in Iran has this incredible collection of modern art.
It's a treasure trove. It has works by Warhol, Picasso, Van Gogh, but a lot of it has been hidden away since the Iranian Revolution in 1979.
Wow, I had no idea. That's really fascinating.
It is. It shows how powerful art can be. It transcends cultural and political divides.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about a new study on undocumented Indian immigrants in the U.S.
Okay, so this study shows there's been a recent surge in asylum requests from Indians. It seems there's been a shift in migration patterns.
Interesting. Anything else?
Yeah, the study also highlights the growing role of agents and brokers who are helping people migrate from India, something we need to look into further.
Definitely. And finally, President Trump's drill baby drill energy policy is raising eyebrows on the global stage.
Yeah, it's causing concern. People worry about the impact on global climate goals and the move towards cleaner energy sources. It's a controversial policy that's sparked debate about the U.S.'s commitment to the environment.
And there have been some surprising developments in Syria. Iranian forces pulled out of their bases there.
Yeah, really quickly, too. It seems like there was a breakdown in their relationship with the Syrian regime.
And this was after Israel stepped up its airstrikes in the region.
Exactly. It's a big shift in the balance of power there. And it'll be interesting to see how this affects the ongoing conflict in Syria.
Definitely. And in Russia, the future of the democratic opposition is uncertain following the death of Alexei Navalny in prison back in 2024.
It is. Putin's hold on power is very strong, and it's hard to see how the opposition can rebuild in that environment.
Yeah, they're facing an uphill battle. But let's move to a more uplifting story. A blind athlete from India is sharing her incredible journey to becoming a top para-athlete.
Oh, I saw that. It's so inspiring.
It really is. It shows the power of determination and how important those guide runners are.
Absolutely. With the right support, people can achieve incredible things.
Couldn't agree more. And finally, a Spanish reality TV show called Temptation Island is making waves around the world.
Oh, yeah, that one's gotten pretty popular. I guess people just love that unfiltered look at relationships.
It's true. The drama, the emotions, the unpredictable twists and turns.
It's definitely addictive. It speaks to that fascination we all have with love and relationships, even when they get messy.
And that's a wrap for today's Daily News Roundup. Thanks for joining us for this look at what's happening around the globe. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and analysis. Until then, stay informed and stay curious.